Now, some people say that all of this is 5D chess. And some people say, what the actual is going on? Hello, you bright little sparks and spargettes. How are you doing? Today I'm getting into the nitty gritty about the Great Awakening, where we are in the Great Awakening with facts and figures. And then I'm going to talk about a big lesson that I think we're all learning about the world and politics. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So as you know, the emissaries do not talk about dates. They don't talk about it, but they do give me percentages every now and again. And I kind of wangle questions to try and get a bit of information out of them using percentages. So I thought I'll ask a question that's slightly from a different perspective. Let's see what they give me. I wanted to know about the Great Awakening. And I said to them, right, imagine we're looking at the 100% of the people who are going to wake up in the Great Awakening. Imagine this is 100%. What percentage of people are already on the path of awakening? And they instantly said 80% of the people who are going to wake up are on the path. But remember, the path's a bloody long one. It's a long one, you know. They've got to wake up to the world, and then they've got to start waking up to self, and then they've got to wake up to God. So it can be a long journey. But 80% of the people are already on the path. You know, maybe just looking at the world going, WTF. And that means that 20% of the people are still to even start the journey. But that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then I said to them, okay, so of the 80% of the people that are already on the pathway, how many of them are where we are? Right, and when I say we, what I'm talking about is we've already woken up to the world, we know, and we're kind of on this journey within towards, you know, returning back to God. You know, we are heading toward being the Buddha and being all one with everything sometimes. And they said, okay, well, 30% of the people who have already woken up are in our place. 30%. So the vast majority are just waking up to the world. And then some haven't even started doing that yet. So that's why I think I said a while ago, we haven't really seen the Great Awakening in its full flourish. It's still to come. But then I asked them this. Of the entire population of the earth, whatever that's made up of, and you know, I don't even know what that's made up of, but the entire population of the world, what percentage of that population is really in the end going to wake up? And they said between 40 and 50. Now, I asked that same question a while ago and they said 60. They said that 30% was awake, there was 30% that was going to join us. So I said, hey, you said 60% before and now you're saying 40 to 50%. And they said, yes, because things change and we're just reading the energies right now. So hey ho, things change, you know, and what I'm saying now, what they've said could change in a week. It could be different because they're just reading the energies, reading people's hearts, I suppose. But hey, do you know what? If we're 50%, that's half. That's pretty good. And given that we're in a split, it makes sense, doesn't it? Like half that way, half that way. Jolly good. So that's the latest update from the emissaries about where we are. We've still got a lot to see. There's still got to be, you know, where one person in every two is awake. How cool will that be? Because the people who were going through the vast majority who were going through the awakening to the world, they're not always speaking out at the beginning. You know, they're only going through a process. They're just noticing that things are not right. But many of them just keep it to themselves. They're just getting a little bit, as we say here in Spain, mosqueados, which is a little bit suspicious of what's going on. But then I went on to talk to the emissaries about this. I was talking to them about the situation in the world. Now, I'm going to talk about Mr. T. And you know, everybody says Trump now, but there was a period in YouTube history where you couldn't say the word and you had to say Mr. T. Now, I've always thought I have always used this benchmark, which is if the mainstream media hates somebody, that probably means that they're good. And if they love somebody, that probably means that they're not very good. The issue is that all of that's into a cocked hat now, because there's this big game going on that I do not understand, nor do I want to. I don't want to understand the complexities of what's going on. I'm at the stage, I don't know how you feel, but I'm at the stage in my life where I think I don't even know if all of this is real or not. And I know it probably isn't. But it's a feeling I've got of, it's so ridiculous, I don't know if it's real anymore. And so I don't want to spend time trying to work out something, trying to make sense of the nonsensical. It's not worth my time nor my effort. And I'd never reach a conclusion because it changes so often. And so we had the saviour of mankind in Donald Trump. He was hailed, still is in many places, as the saviour of mankind. The first time that he came into power, before that he promised that he was going to drain the swamp. Can you remember that? That was the drain the swamp. Is that 3 letters? 3 letters? Yeah, the power of 3. Yes, we can drain the swamp. And then it didn't happen. And then he didn't drain the swamp. Did you notice that? Many people are saying, I thought he was going to drain the swamp. Well, he didn't have time. Or he said, I didn't know how deep it went. Okay, fair enough. So then he had the hiatus of 4 years whilst a man who had no brain, who looked like the scarecrow of the Wizard of Oz, pretended to lead the country to hell. Meanwhile, Trump then made some promises. He was going to deport all of the people who shouldn't be there. He was going to stop all of the trans silliness. There weren't going to be any more wars because he could resolve them only with negotiation. Ukraine was going to be over in a week. He said at the tops 2 weeks. And that this time, yes, he was going to drain the swamp. And then something happened. Kind of a year in, we find ourselves in a place where they've just announced that trans can go ahead with minors as long as the parents are okay with it. Nobody's been arrested for fuck all. He said that the Epstein files were just a made-up conspiracy. We're now in a war. That is not a war, according to what they're saying, but it is. But it isn't. And illegal immigrants can stay if they're good. Now, some people say that all of this is 5D chess. And some people say, what the actual fuck is going on? What happened? Now, I'm not here to say what happened. I have not got a clue. I did hear somebody say that he had been replaced, Mr. T had been replaced by a clone who was going to be really evil and bad. And I put that on the back burner because that's interesting, because what he said I thought was, woo, and then I saw all of this and I thought, that's strange, isn't it? But anyway, I have no idea. So I'm not going to be able to impart to you, and the emissaries never talk about it anyway, I'm not going to be able to impart to you some words of wisdom about what the fuck's going on. However, I did say this to the emissaries. I said, what about all this that's happening? People are losing faith. And they said to me this, and it was really interesting. They said, isn't that just the best lesson that everybody has to learn right now? The lesson that even when you've got an icon, when you've got the gold standard, which was Trump, the gold standard in place in politics, it will never fix anything. Isn't that the perfect lesson for us to learn? That we're trying to change something with a broken system. We're trying to get something different out of a system that is corrupt and rotten to the very, very foundations of what it is. It's like saying this is what we're doing, effectively. We're saying, well, we want to cut this piece of wood really nicely, but we've only got a hammer. And somebody says, yeah, but this is the best hammer. This is a really good hammer. It's going to do a fantastic job. But all it can do is break the wood into pieces. That's what politics is. It's fucking rotten. It's horrible. And the emissary said, people need to understand that. Now, two ways of looking at it. What if, and I've heard this, Trump is actually sacrificing his own reputation to be able to show that this is not the way, to be able to show that this will never work. It's possible. It's possible. If you believe in the 5D chess, we're going to expose everything. And what if Trump is just a really good person who cannot manage that situation because it is so horrible in there? He's surrounded by pariahs, by wolves, by sharks. You take one away and two take its place. That's possible. Who knows? But I'm aware of the system, which is, when the world needs a hero, we will give them one. Supposedly by Pike himself, the 33-degree Mason with a big bushy beard, but he wasn't God. However, apparently I'm being told that that didn't exist. He never said it. But I have a funny feeling that he did. And it's trying to be wiped out. Like in 1984, where they go through the history and they keep changing all of the past. I have a feeling that that's the case. And what I'm aware of is that in the UK, right now, we used to have reform, big R, reform. Now that's fallen into a mess. It's just a mess. And now we've got restore. And the man who runs restore, he is saying all of the right words. He is saying exactly what people want. It's almost a mirror image of what Trump was saying. And he's saying the same thing. The first week they're going to be home. We're going to send millions home. And I don't care. They're going home. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing t'other. And everyone's going, wow. It's like liquid gold washing over our ears. And I can't help but thinking that I've seen this shit before. I can't help but think that I've heard this shit before. I think we all have. And I'm not saying that maybe he's not, with the right intentions. I think he is. I'm a bit worried about his connections with making a lot of money during the pandemic. But I just get the sense that the situation we've got, the fact is that you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. You can't make a pretty face, out of an arse. And I think this is what we're all hoping, that maybe somebody will just do that. Somebody will come to save us. And the emissary's finished by saying, we don't need a hero. We are already heroes. We don't need a hero. Despite what we're told in the song, I need a hero. Yep, we are. We have to step up to the plate. We have to be the people that we've been waiting for. We are the only ones who can change this. Do you agree with me? Or do you think that I'm being a bit too hard on Mr. T and politicians? I'd like to know your comments. Maybe I've misread it. But tell me what you think in the comments. I love you all and I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.